The relationship what I have with my twin sister, basically I'm probably going to be talking about myself kind of thing. I know that we're two individuals, but when we're separated, no, we don't feel completed, but when we're together, yes, we've got that solid rock there again. Yeah, we just love one another to pieces.
I believe that they both are so connected that they can feel one another's pain.
It's just worrisome, Twinnie.
Know what each other is thinking.
But we're a tough cookie, we are.
No one else on this planet could ever break that bond between them.
Good morning, Dad.
Twinnies, how you going?
I've heard such twins described as two bodies, one soul, and I think that's a perfect way to talk about Bridget and Paula, because they do appear to be a single unit, and that's why they're very happy to call themselves the Twinnies.
We love dressing the same buttons and same patterns.
I think a lot of people make the mistake of seeing them as being some sort of novelty act. But very quickly, that just fades away to pure intrigue and wonder just over their level of knowledge and their passion and their commitment. Because these girls are experts. They're absolute pros.
I'm Paula and I'm Bridget, and we're known as the Twinnies. We've been rescuing and saving birds for 21 years. Hello, good morning. You gonna come down?
The Twinnies really perform an amazing job rehabilitating seabirds.
Good morning, bubbies. Hello, darlings.
So all along that southern Queensland coast, if there's a bird that is in distress, or even a turtle, it's like this bat signal goes up and the Twinnies respond. They're quite extraordinary.
But he's missed his web foot.
I have seen Twinnies perform miracles.
He's going to be a big boy.
I've seen birds with open fractures. I've seen birds without beaks.
Perfect, and it's not annoying you, is it?
And I've seen these birds mended, very broken birds, put back together with, I don't know, Twinnie magic. But in a way, the birds have also saved Twinnies because their health isn't great.
Hello, Rob. What have you got?
Twinnies suffer with a lot of debilitating illnesses, but the birds keep them going.
We try and forget all about the health issues. We get on with life. I guess when you love something so much, it's easy. Yeah.
They were beautiful babies. They were just gorgeous Twinnies.
And 40-odd years on, look at you now.
I couldn't tell them apart when they were born. The hospital had little bands on them and had twin 1, twin 2. I was too frightened to take them off.
So is this our godparents?
Yes.
When Bridget and Paula, I brought them home from the hospital and that, I thought there was something wrong, and in my heart I knew they were different.
Like our little outfits.
They never really sucked properly on a bottle. They used to scream a lot. They were floppy babies.
Always holding hands.
Really, they didn't sit up until they were about probably 15 months old.
We could never work out what it was. We took them to doctors and they were in hospital. They just had that many problems and we didn't know what to do about it, sort of thing. Neither did the doctors.
If it wasn't for Mum, we wouldn't be sitting here telling this story. Mum did all the hard work, giving us physio herself and getting us to walk.
Until we love one another, look.
They were very, very close. Like I had them in a cot together, but I tried to put them into separate beds. You'd wake up in the morning and they'd be curled up on the floor together like little puppy dogs.
They were quite unique and funny. They had this own little communication line that It was like nobody else was privy to, really.
Which dog's that?
Little lady.
I used to call them little chipmunks. That's what they sound like, a couple of little chipmunks talking to each other.
Was that our first day at school? Yeah.
They went to a special school to see if we could get them to learn how to talk better, speech therapy, and mixing, because they only wanted to mix with themselves.
Well, one sister and two brothers, look at that.
And then I got them into a normal school situation.
We loved going to school, and kids used to look at us and say a few words, but we used to let it go in this ear and out the other.
High school was very, very hard for them. As they got older, their heart problems started kicking in. A lot of girls used to give them a hard time about not having boyfriends and saying, you know, are you having it off with one another or something, you know, horrible things.
How are you two? How's that leg?
Paula and Bridget finished school halfway through year 10 due to ill health.
6 months' time.
So what's a mum supposed to do with two little girls that are very sick, not going to be able to hold a job down?
There you go, little man.
Once they moved up here onto the Sunshine Coast, that was when everything kind of just started to fall into place for them.
We'd only been in Queensland for a fortnight. The boys were out fishing. They called us on the phone, come down to the Powerboat Club and come and see what we've got.
There was a big green sea turtle, obviously had some sort of problem, couldn't submerge under the water.
We got there and held the turtle. We put seagrass all over his eyes and his shell to keep him nice and moist. And then someone who goes, oh, why don't you call Steve Irwin? And honestly, we didn't know who Steve was at the time.
Here he is. Come on, big boy. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on. Take him, Toby. Take him, take him, take him.
And very shortly after that, we had a troop carrier pull up and a guy got out. He walked straight into the water, boots and all. He got the turtle. They put it on a stretcher thing and were bringing it out of the water, and he spotted the girls. And I remember it very clearly. He couldn't take his eyes off them. Steve could see, just from that split second with meeting them, how passionate they were about the turtle. And that's how they came about to go and work for him.
Steve had what you might call a skill for being able to recognise special things that people may have, and he would have recognised that the Twinnies were two young ladies who would be of great benefit to the zoo and also to wildlife in general. Well, these little guys look content, don't they?
Yeah, I don't think we could have worked anywhere else.
I said, I hope all these don't fly back home.
We've always had love for every kind of creature, even spiders. We can't even kill a spider. Hello, darlings. You got a good life here. They've all got heartbeats and feelings. You're free, darlings. Oh, there goes one.
That's it.
We worked at Australia Zoo for 2 years.
Come on, kids. How'd you come?
And then after that, we branched out on our own.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why we picked seabirds, but I think because we knew that they needed our help.
We are a charity. And we get some good volunteers, yes.
You're doing the B part now, Ken.
We're grateful for any help
You do a good job.
because it becomes costly and time-consuming.
Yeah, so hopefully you've got no broken bones.
There's not a day that we can say we haven't had a bird come through that door.
Sorry that you have to drop it off.
From the time they've started to now, I'd say they've done 25,000 birds easy.
Twinnies pretty much do everything that a vet and a vet nurse would do, apart from major surgery.
Some people bring the birds to us and then we get calls and we go out and rescue the birds as well. They come into our ICU room first and then we move them into the hospital part. Then they go into the recovery area where we start giving them a lot of physio before release. Darling, oh my God, look at this. Look at this.
I first met the Twinnies 10 years ago, and we stay in regular touch. It's not uncommon for me to receive a text message about a patient that's just arrived, and they're looking for some little tidbit of veterinary insight from me.
She's enjoying that.
They'll have birds in care for weeks, months, and often years.
You're hungry, little Vegemite, huh?
They feel very deeply towards every one of their patients.
We love them all, but our favourite bird is the pelican, yeah. And we just love their big eyes. No, you cheeky things.
Pelicans are quite cheeky, and I think for the Twinnies, there are some parallels there. Maybe they see a connection to themselves. How are you, Bridget?
I'm Paula.
They like to have a bit of fun along the way.
How are you? I'm sure you just say it the other way around.
Thomas, I'm Bridget.
Yes. I pride myself in getting that right.
50-50.
They take great delight in pointing out my flaws and any mistakes I make, which I enjoy, but it's 2 against 1, so it sometimes feels a little unfair.
This is Rob, and he's our pride and joy. He's a beautiful boy. We have had him from an egg. We've got pelicans on our dam, and we've got special permits for them. And they bred, and there was 2 nests down there. We saw this egg. I said it has to be a pelican egg. That's where the nest was, and this is where Rob's egg was, right here. We picked it up, and the egg was stone cold. We raced up and we put it into our incubator, and then I think it was on the 5th day, we heard this little chirp. And we just got so excited and everything. And then the 6th day, we saw the little beak coming out. But look, baby pelican chick.
I said, that is amazing, but what are you going to do with it? How are you going to look after it? And they said, well, we've watched the pelicans. We know what they do.
You're doing so well. Now it's time for bed. We were sitting on the grass with him, and then he just wobbled like he just got up and got off balance, and then he took his first steps. It was amazing. Yes. Good boy. Oh, my God. Look at that. We are so proud of you, Rob.
He's lucky he's got 2 mums, and they did everything right for him.
It's amazing you're here. You're a miracle bird.
But what's his future? Half of them feel that they should release him, but then the other half, they would like to keep him.
Go for a rest now. Go for a morning sleep.
Because that's their baby. It's got feathers.
Through Twins Research Australia, I met hundreds of twin pairs. Not all sets of identical twins are close, but there's a small group, like the Twinnies, that are very close, that love to spend all their time together and that have this complete understanding. But I think the Twinnies are probably the most closest twins I've seen.
I'll have to be truthful. There's lots of times I just can't tell them apart. And even on the phone, I say, yes, Twinnie, I don't know who I'm talking to.
No, I can pick them. Probably be laughing at me when they see that.
We videoed you and you're sitting on the chair.
They talk in unison, which I think is really cool, but, like, obviously some people find that a bit annoying, but I guess growing up with them, I've always found that really fascinating.
Well, you know what I reckon you should ask. But they're a big bird too.
Twins that are quite identical can attract some attention, and Bridget and Paul have probably got more than their fair share.
Sometimes we do feel like just one person.
It is extraordinary that you speak in unison.
Sorry, how can you keep a straight face? That's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
It's extraordinary.
Because they spent their entire lives together, from in the womb, they kind of know and they respond to the same situation in the same way.
No, how can you rehearse a conversation?
And that can appear as weird to the rest of us.
This is one of the greatest interviews I have ever conducted.
Me doing this interview here on my own is quite hard because I can't remember everything, and where my twin sister probably knows what I've missed out on, and I don't know, it's a weird feeling. So we're so happy with our outcome.
We are pretty protective of the girls, I think. They are so pure and so innocent and have a magical naivety, I suppose, about them, and wouldn't wish any harm to anybody.
They don't want to be separated, and that has been proven over and over. Somehow they met these Canadian twins, and these twins, they came out to Australia looking for love.
That's right, darlings.
They were lovely men. And I said, the Twinnies, oh, what do you reckon? Oh, the look they give me. No, that would never, ever have happened.
We haven't got time for any relationships or anything because the birds need us. We rather give the love, what we've got, to the birds. Men are too much trouble. You need to gain some weight now, Bunny. You'll be able to eat a lot more and get better now.
One of the true strengths the Twinnies possess is just this incredible ability to read a bird and just watch it for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and almost know medically what's going on with it.
Yeah, there's big tape underneath this.
You can go to university for years and years and not be able to do that.
You'll be able to eat as much fish as you like, sweetheart, now, since you're over the worst.
The animal may be badly injured, but it may be badly injured internally, not so much externally.
You're a beautiful big boy.
Some animals, of course, suffer very, very badly from stress, and that's not always easy to pick up.
Look at his eyes, would you? Look at him looking at me. Then he looks at me.
You've got to get inside that animal's head. The Twinnies have that ability.
These are southern giant petrels. We've got to build up their strength because they've got a long way to fly home to the Antarctic.
They don't let the lack of resources stop them from inventing something that will work for a few bucks.
That looked like a bad storm.
This leaf blower gig that the twins have got going on, when you blow the wind at the birds, it makes them open their wings up and then they start to flap, and you can see that they want to lift up. I think it's brilliant.
We've got a pelican named Graham, and when our volunteers, John and Julie, brought him through our centre, we just burst out in tears. Oh, his whole head was so swollen, and he can even see out of those two big, beautiful eyes.
All I can remember about Graham was that he looked really sick, and he looked as though he'd been hit. There was very little life in him. He was very sluggish.
We feel that he's gone up really close to the cleaning tables where fishermen fillet their fish, and he's probably got real close, and the fisherman has donged him really hard. There's definitely a loose connection there, I think.
The Twinnies sent me the X-rays for Graham, and I was trying to understand whether it was surgery that he needed or whether, you know, to be honest, whether it was kind for things to continue for Graham. It was clear he'd suffered pretty serious head trauma. The worry was that if he had major fractures around his skull, the beak may not be able to function.
Chris gave us advice what to do, and we did it, and pain relief and antibiotics and bathed eyes. We had to hand feed Graham for 5 months and keeping him still and poking the fish down so he wouldn't use that big bill. And it's paid off, it has.
Or you're full?
He's almost ready for release, almost there.
think it's incredibly hard for seabirds along the Australian coast. You look at the level of development in Australia, and not surprisingly, we're seeing huge declines in seabird numbers.
Got nothing under your wing? Okay.
The majority of the birds they're seeing have been malnourished, have been hit by cars, hit by boats. You see them hooked by fishing lines, caught in different fishing traps, crab traps. They've flown into power lines. All of those hallmarks of human development on the coast.
We see a lot of botulism. It's a bacteria that becomes toxic, and it's mainly because of stagnant waterways and polluted water. It affects the pelicans and they become paralysed. So if they can't move their neck, they drown.
It breaks our hearts when we see so many like this in one day. With botulism pelicans, you've got to have the patience and time to treat these birds. They've got to have IV fluids and they've got to have antibiotics. We put them in portable cots so that they've got their little heads resting and their eyes are all closed. We have got this good luck blanket and we cover them lightly with this nice soft pink blanket. We give them leg massages just to keep their body stimulated. All we can do is try our best.
The main things I've learned from the Twinnies is that a lot of birds will surprise you if you give them the attention and the care that the Twinnies can.
Bridget, there's some more behind here, Bridget.
I have never, ever met people who work as hard, who are so sick as they are at times, and never complain, ever.
It's all about time.
We've got osteoporosis already and we've got heart problems and we've got stomach problems, but we just go from one day to the next.
Oh, that's amazing.
The bone density shows that their bones are like an 80-year-old woman. And if they was to fracture a bone, it may never heal.
He came to the door for help. You can still see the oil on him. It's hard watching my twin sister with that angry-looking kind of sad face when she's in pain. Little baths every day will help. Okay. And it's hard for my twin sister to see me sick. It's a safe detergent for him.
I have 7 children, 6 to John, and those 6 have had all health issues. And I think, why are all these kids got problems? Is it me? And then John being in Vietnam, I'm starting to think, well, there's got to be a connection with Agent Orange.
There's controversy once again over the chemical 2,4,5-T, which is...
We were the first lot of national servicemen to go to Vietnam. That was in, I think we got there in June '66. I'm sure we went through an area once where it had been used.
The chemical, or Agent Orange as it's known, was used to destroy jungle in Vietnam.
Just to me, it's too much of a coincidence. There's all the things, I've had tumours in my brain, I've had them in my kidney, in my gallbladder, everywhere. There's a box that was out the front.
I feel sorry for Dad because he thinks it's his fault and it's not our dad's fault at all.
Soft tissue trauma.
We are so blessed for our mum and dad. Their life savings come into to run our organisation. If it wasn't for them, I don't know what we do.
Welcome to Twinnies.
It costs a fortune to keep Twinnies running. They don't own the land that their facility is on. They rent it.
So what do you reckon, Twinnies?
Yes, there are small grants available. Yes, there are generous people in the public domain. But most of the money comes from Helen and John.
Who? The feet.
Helen's a dynamo.
Bless them.
She knows that however much hard work it is, this is what keeps Twinnies going. Helen knows that the birds have saved Twinnies.
They love it in there. Yeah, they do.
It's a healing thing for us, it is. Because if we've got a will to get up and a will to look after them and a will to get them birds back out in the wild.
Hello, Graham. You know the routine, Graham?
We've almost had Graham in care for 2 years and we think that he's ready for release.
Go free, darling.
Releasing birds into the wild, it's why you do it.
No, we shouldn't be crying, Graham.
Releasing animals into the wild with the Twinnies, though, is a different thing altogether. It's like a spiritual awakening.
Don't you dare start crying. You did a wonderful job with him.
With some birds, especially the ones what we've put in a lot of time and effort, and then it's time for them to go, it is so emotional for us to say goodbye to them. It's hard because we worry about them, especially the ones what we've had what could have been euthanized and we fixed them.
Now, Graham.
Graham, you've got to be careful when you're at the boat ramp, okay, darling?
Don't get too close to anybody, please. Because then you won't end up with an injury.
When we undo that zipper on the pet pack, our hearts are pounding and we do drop a tear, but it's a happy tear and it's a bit of a worry tear as well because once they're gone and out of our hands, it's up to them.
You ready to go?
We're not,
But
you belong out here, don't you, darling?
With all your friends.
We just love it when they spread their wings and wiggle their little tails and sometimes the bird looks at us and we know that's a sign, them saying thank you, because we've given them that second chance of life to be a free bird again.
In the water. In the water, that's good.
I just hope they can keep going as long as possible because it's going to be very, very difficult to find wildlife carers that can do what they do with the same dedication and success that the Twinnies have.
A nice straight beat, Graham.
It takes very special people to be able to do that.
Look at him. He's a bossy bit. Yeah.
You're off to school, aren't you, Rob, to see the kids? Good boy. Good boy, Rob. Hi, kids. We get a lot of phone calls about pelicans all getting tangled up in fishing lines. That's how they find their fish. But this one's a very lucky pelican, isn't it?